Hi, I'm Adam Loveridge with Job Calls, and I'm really grateful today to be joined by Jeff Hanchett with Air Now Heating and Air Conditioning in Ogden, Utah, as well as Dustin Miller with PPC Professionals out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And gentlemen, thanks so much for joining me here today.
Hey, Adam, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. All right, so just to give a little backstory here, we're going to be talking about HVAC sales leads today, and specifically a campaign that we've tested out here with Jeff at Air Now anyway for about 90-day period anyway, and you know, Jeff, obviously you've been a client of mine for what, 4 years? I mean, how long has it been? It's been
at least four or five.
At least 4 years. I think we're 5. Yeah, some in that, or you know, a while to say the least. And obviously, with Job Calls, we're very heavily into local search and reputation, and making sure that our clients show up, number one, and that they've got better reviews than their competitors, and that really gets the phone to ring very well. But you presented a challenge to me at the beginning of this year, anyway, that kind of got us going. And say, you know, and I remember the conversation was something along the lines of, you know, hey, Adam, I mean, we get a ton of repair leads, obviously, from you, but we'd really like to see if we can get more leads in terms of the actual sales leads, meaning, you know, installations, retrofits, that sort of thing, to augment or, you know, ultimately replace Home Advisor if that was feasible. Is that kind of the right understanding of our conversation there anyway?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So so what we did then realistically was went out and just utilized AdWords, and I actually engaged Dustin with PPC Professionals to build us out a campaign to start driving traffic. And Dustin, what were some of the, I guess first off, you know, what were some of the things that you initially focused on when you developed the campaign? But then what were some of the insights that you saw as we really got this thing, you know, rocking and rolling and started getting some traffic to the website and things along those lines?
Yeah, so originally the plan was to create a campaign that targeted people looking for installs, right? So the whole goal was to get more install leads, more install bids, rather than just service calls for your everyday repair needs. So what we had to do is basically look for the search terms that identified people's intent, which would be for an install or maybe for a bid, pricing, things like that. Built the campaign out that way, and then segmented any of the repair keywords either as negatives or we just didn't turn them on at all. So there was some, you know, some finagling to do with the keywords and with people's intent, doing some research. The other part was obviously having a good offer. So we talked about, you know, using a good offer for installs to help people who might actually be looking for a repair, but then see a really good offer for an install and just decide, hey, let's just replace this thing. So that was the approach that we took. We knew having a good offer was going to work, and we also knew making sure we weren't in front of the wrong repair traffic. That would help a lot too. And as we were running the campaigns, you know, it looked as if they weren't working out so well, and mostly because what you'll talk about, I'm sure, in a minute, has to do with you know, Jeff's reviews, and not just Jeff's, but even other HVAC companies or companies that you're going to spend a lot of money to have something done in your house, contractors, kitchens, whatever. Typically, you research people. So the tracking we were using is only people who are making a call from either the ads or the landing pages, right? So we didn't expect the whole reputation loop to happen, which I'll let you talk about. But that was the biggest takeaways from the campaign we were in.
Okay, sure. Yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen here anyway, and I'll dive a little bit further into this reputation loop that we're talking about. But what was interesting is we started sending traffic, and we're looking at the conversion rates, meaning of the people that were hitting the website, picking up the phone right then and calling. We found them to be really low, and it wasn't really until we went and started listening to the calls that were coming from the Google local number, you know, this number that's showing up here, and most of the places on the web here anyway for Air Now, that we realized that even though people are definitely looking for a new air conditioning system and they're looking for a bid, a large percentage of them still went out to Googled the name of the business, and obviously when they do that and they look for Heating and Air in Ogden, they're seeing this 5-star reputation, 47 reviews. They're seeing reviews going down the line here on Home Advisor and the Better Business Bureau and Facebook. And ultimately, that was at least what we found, where the bulk of those calls actually came back through, was through kind of that reputation loop. And like I mentioned before, we've always known that, hey, when you're showing up and you've got great reviews, the phone calls happen. But we weren't expecting to have that much emphasis happen on these install bids, because after all, it's just at the end of the day, I guess you could say it's a free bid. Why would somebody really care to go and look at the reputation of the heating and air conditioning company that may be doing an installation for them? But we found out that just wasn't the case, and that the good bulk of those calls did come from that. So, Jeff, turning that back over to you then a little bit here anyway. Obviously, we started this campaign to initially look at supplementing or augmenting leads from Home Advisor. We've certainly driven some calls. I think did 54 or something along those lines over 3 months. But I guess tell me a little bit about what you saw in terms of the quality of those leads and how they really stacked up against some of the sales leads that you're buying from Home Advisor.
Sure. Well, I guess I would say two things in this area. That is one, dealing with Home Advisor. I've dealt with them for a lot of years, probably at least as long as I've dealt with Adam here at Job Calls. And with Home Advisor, it's not as direct of a path. So the customer is getting multiple contractors, so it kind of muddies the water, I guess you'd say. And so it kind of seems like it's a little bit more of an uphill battle to close those jobs. It still has been a good source for us. It's not something that we've completely abandoned, but that's kind of why I approached Adam, to see if there's a better way. And that's kind of what we're talking about here today. And in this, what I've discovered is we actually end up we get every bit the leads that we're getting through Home Advisor, but we're actually doing better and getting more targeted, more direct, ready to buy customers. And in just this short little bit, I've been able to establish that we've actually had a 25% increase in closed sales, considering this lead sourcing towards that of Home Advisor.
Okay, excellent, and that's really, really good to know. So in other words, if you are a heating and air conditioning contractor and you're using Home Advisor, don't quit your day job, so to speak. But at the end of the day, there's certainly other avenues out there that are going to close at a higher percentage and be an easier to close lead, and at least in as far as not having to chase them down and be in a competitive environment. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's exactly correct. We've had good things happening with Home Advisor. I'm not saying that's a flawed system by any means, but what I have seen is at least a quicker, more simpler path to close a sale.
Excellent, excellent. And Jeff, what would you tell a prospective heating and air conditioning contractor who is looking to expand their sales leads, or for that matter, their service leads? Just about your experience with with Job Calls, with working with myself and Dustin, or anything along those lines anyway.
I get so many people that want to come and take my advertising dollars. And, a lot of people will promise and promise and promise, but the delivering on those promises doesn't always happen. And any contractor who's been doing this for very long at all can relate to exactly what I'm saying. What I really, really enjoy about these guys here at Job Calls and the way they do stuff is it's all results driven. I'm a person who, I kind of like to dive into the data, and, I really like to make sure that my advertising dollars are doing what I need them to do. And so I hold my advertisers accountable. I'm able to track and see results. And, I've had many come and many go. I've stuck with Adam here at Job Calls for a lot of years. And the reason is he's always adapting. He's always changing. He's always innovating. Kind of like you said at the start of this interview, Adam, I came to you and I said, can you do more? and you've delivered. And this isn't the first time that you've been able to do that for me. And it's a great working relationship. Like I said, if I could achieve all my advertising goals solely through you, who knows? You're an innovator enough that you'll probably be able to achieve that. But,
we'll figure it out sooner or later, I'm sure.
It's been a great experience, and I would fully advise anybody who's entertaining your services without hesitation.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate it. Dustin, thank you again. Jeff, thank you again for joining me here on this case study on HVAC sales leads. It's certainly been a pleasure having you both. Certainly is an ongoing pleasure to continue working with you, Jeff. And gentlemen, thank you again so very much.
Oh, no problem.
Have a good afternoon.
All right, guys.